do it. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay. All right, I think we're here now. Awesome. So, thanks again, everyone. If you're on YouTube, it seems to be working now. So, thank you again. Tonight, like I said, I'm going to be starching and blocking the finished purple doily. I managed to finish it today. I just had a little bit of the last row to finish, and then I also wove in the ends. And now the last step is to block it with some starch. So I'll kind of go over my process with that. It's the last step. It takes some time, but it really, truly makes a really big difference. So, all right, let's get going. Okay, so here is basically the before, right? So it's kind of bloopy. What we're trying to get it to is something more like this, where everything lays perfectly flat. You can see every single stitch. It's not bloopy at all. It just is like nice, perfect, and refined. This is a different pattern, but that's kind of what we're going for. And it'll actually stretch it out as well as we go. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to basically pin it to, I have like some wool mats here. I'm going to get starch all over it, and then we will put it on the mat. So I'm going to just set up here. I think it's probably going to need 2 mats. I have a third if I need it. And I'm just going to put a white towel on top, like so. This will just help soak in some of the starch is what I'm hoping here. Okay, so let's start off. I have a little bowl here. So I'm using this Stay Flow liquid starch. I've had this probably for 10 years, which is a little ridiculous. But hey, I got a huge bottle of it and it's still working. So that's what we're using. So it's concentrated liquid starch, and I am not going to unconcentrate it. I'm going to just leave it its full concentration. I'm going to put a little bit into a little bowl here. I'll probably pour this back into the bottle later, but I'm going to dip my whole thing in here. And I want to completely saturate the doily. I need like every little bit of this to have starch on. I might actually need to pour more starch in here. Yeah, I just want this like sopping in the starch. Just basically every part covered. And it looks like I just put in exactly the right amount of starch because there's none left really. Oh, right here feels like it needs something though. Let's see if I can get some from the bottom. We'll squish it up together. Really get every little spot. Well, the chat looks like it's still not working in YouTube. All right, well, if YouTube isn't working, we have Facebook and TikTok yet. Okay, we are pretty saturated here. So I'm going to scooch this out of the way. And let me just see if I can tell what's the front and the back. Yeah, the front's going to have like more ridges on it, so I'm going to just have that up. All right, and I am going to actually, let's just try and flip up all these things, and then I'm going to actually rinse my hands off so they're not like sopping in starch while we do this. They're going to get totally starchy again, but I have a little thing of water here, so I'm just going to wash my hands off quick. Oh, thanks, Justin. Justin says, exciting fun. Alyssa, you are the bravest crafter on the internet. I appreciate that. I do love trying stuff. So, all right, let's give this a go. I'm just going to try and get it so you guys can see it all. Okay, so it's sopping with the starch right now. Oh, Karen says, I remember my mom doing this and having doilies pinned all over the place when they dried. Yep. Oh my gosh. I couldn't imagine doing more than these at once. It would take a whole day because this does take some time. So I just have some little pins. These are applique pins. I will probably run out of these during this process and I'll need to get my other pins. But I'm going to just kind of dump them in the corner. I'm just going to dump it all right away because I'm pretty sure I'm going to use them. So I'm going to start at the middle. Luckily, this design looks like it's equal across, so I think there's 12 units, so I can just like go across and across. That's going to be good because then I can already tell that I have a grid, versus like if it was an odd number, then, I'd have to try and figure that out a little bit. But luckily we have a little bit of a guide. So I think I'm going to just start out by, let's pin the bottom of one of these petals. And then I'm going to get another pin ready. So the goal is to basically get this the exact shape that we want, and then we're going to let it just air dry. And because we're using starch, it should really kind of keep everything in its place. So you can see I kind of stretched it a little bit. I didn't pull too hard. But I am kind of stretching it. So this will definitely grow as we go. And, this is circular, so I am going to try and make it a perfect circle. So I am probably going to have to adjust this. But I am kind of keeping, this point and this point look like they're supposed to be horizontal to each other. And same with this point and that point. So I'm starting there. Ugh, I already got it screwed up. So I'm using 2 of those wool mats underneath here, and they're slipping apart a little bit, so let's try that again. So you can already guess, I'm thinking that this is going to take ages, and you're right. So I'm going to go around this center circle and kind of pin all the opposite bits in place, and then I'm going to assess that and see if everything's where I want it. Like I might have pulled one a little too much and one maybe not enough. So we will make all those adjustments in the center before moving outward. And I'm definitely going to just go till this is done tonight, because once you start, you can't stop. You're in it once you start, because it's got the starch on. You can't let it just dry unfinished, because it's going to stay in that position. Otherwise you'll have to like get it wet again and start all from scratch, which would blow. So I will be here as long as this takes tonight. It might be more than the hour. It might not. I'm not positive. Okay, so we have our first kind of 12 in place, and I just kind of want to assess how this circle is doing. It looks like it's pulling a little here. I might redo this little bit. Ooh, and it's slippery with the with the starch, so I have to keep wiping off my hands a little bit. All right, I think we're looking decent for now. I may need to come back to this. So the next place that seems like a good place to pin would be the tip of these petals. So let's stretch that out. Put a little pin at the point. We'll go opposite again. It'll be really interesting to see how big this gets, because it definitely is going to grow with all this stretching out. Again, I'm not really even pulling. I'm just kind of going until it feels like it's the right spot. Now this one looks like it's pulled a little much, so I'll probably come back to that one. Or maybe this one's just not pulled enough. We will see. So let's just pick the next one. Here to there. So we're going to have to pin down every single one of these little points at the end too. Like anything that we want, you know, just perfect, we'll be pinning down. I just did this one. Here's the opposite. But this is the last step, So I kind of think it's the best part. This is where it starts to look like how it was always intended to look. And this is the first time we kind of get to see this. Uh-oh, did this guy come from somewhere? All right, so this, it looks a little lopsided over here. I think I'm going to pull on this one outward a little bit. But there, so that's what the center is going to look like. Looks so good so far. Okay, next up, I'm kind of thinking, so this is where it's getting a little, like a little wavy. So this, it feels like there's a lot of basically fabric here to work with. So I'm kind of wondering where to go next. Well, let's just keep where the pins are. So let's keep going down this way. So let's start with maybe the inner point. Let's do that. Oh, thanks, JJ. Oh, thanks, Speed Demons. All right. Oop, jeez. I have starch all over my fingers. So I do have that bowl of water nearby. I might have to keep washing my hands on and off here. Gets a little slippery. Okay, over. If you're on YouTube right now and can hear me, I cannot see the chat today for some reason. So if you're asking questions, you'll have to do it on Facebook or TikTok, I think. Oh my God, I can't push this pin in. See, it's already like growing to be bigger than this screen here. Okay, let's pull this way. This is actually a smaller doily than I've done in a while. So this won't take as long as it normally does for me, I don't think. But it's persnickety for sure, and once I get to this all pinned, I might have to adjust a pin here and there. Oh, yeah, Lena's knots. Oh, I love this. Did you use a pattern? I've been making tons of doilies. This was a pattern. So this originally was my emergency craft project. So that's what I mean by that is it's just a project I kind of have on hand in my bag. In my, like, bag for, like, when I'm just, like, a suitcase type bag. Not a suitcase, like a briefcase type bag, like when I was going to work and that sort of thing. Just so if I needed a project, like if I got stuck in the car or something, I'd have a project to do, right? So it actually was sitting around for a long time. And the pattern, so this is, I remember the thinking of this. But I'm going to cut to the chase first. The pattern is horrible, and I got it on, it was just like a Pinterest pattern. I probably wouldn't do this today, but it was just some pattern. And it was one of those patterns that was drawn out, where you could actually see, you know, like symbols for each stitch. So it was actually like a picture. Like if you do a search on Pinterest for doily patterns, you'll probably see a lot of those that just look like pictures, and then you follow like the symbols to stitch it. And I had never done a design like that before. I've basically only been doing the one pattern that my grandma always used to do, and that was all like written out, right? Like 2 double crochets, you know, 1 single crochet, you know, it was all written out. So this is the first time I did one from just a chart, I guess is what you'd call it. So I had just downloaded it from Pinterest and printed it out, and it was basically illegible. I had to rely on sort of knowing what was going on by having stitched doilies before with this pattern. So pretty horrible. Oh, it's called a graph. Okay, yeah, like a graph. Anywho, I wouldn't do it that way again. I'd like purchase it from someone who knows what they're doing. But it was an interesting experiment. Like I said, I had never done a project like that before, and you know, and it was just on a photocopy printout that was degraded and everything too. It was just horrible, but I made it through, and yeah, so I don't have a good recommendation for this pattern or anything like that, is kind of what I'm getting at. All right, I'm just kind of doing my next oh, let's do sideways first, the next sort of thing. I feel like I may be pulling this too much, but we'll just kind of see. Like I said, there is kind of a lot of bulk in this area, so maybe I'm doing it just enough. We'll see after I do this round, I think. So I'm just kind of going to the point of the like top point of that section that I just did. I feel like I'm pulling these ones too much, so I might have to go back. But we're getting it as good as we can. But look, look how big it's getting. It definitely, it looks like I'm zooming into the camera compared to where I was before. All right, I'm just continuing to go opposite. The best is when you do the outer edge, though. Like, look how floofy it is. It's all of a sudden going to have, like, shape and definition, and it's going to be just, like, super cool. That's what's always fun. This is kind of, if you quilt at all, I feel like this is equivalent to doing the binding. It's like that last step, and you're like, oh, yeah, I got to do that whole binding, and that's super tedious. But at the same time, it's exciting because it's the last step. But yeah, this is I was just gonna say this is the most tedious part, but then I'm like, that's not possibly true with crochet. The whole thing is slow and tedious, so in reality this is probably the least tedious part. Yeah, I do feel like I'm stretching things out here a bit, but we'll address that a little bit here, I think. Oh, you can really start seeing the colors, though, just sit in their place real nicely. You can't really see that when it's all just a crumbled up little thing. Like, you know, look at these purples in the middle here, and soon we'll have like all these pretty teals happen. Oh, right here. Okay. So there is still a little bloops and stuff here, so I'm hoping that goes away with this next little bit that I'm going to stretch out. So I think it's going to have to be this. Let's see. Maybe right here at this circle, that'd probably be good. We can just come up like so. Yeah, I think we can pull it at least that far too. All right, let's do that. This pattern does have like these big kind of bloops on this, oops, I missed. Bloops on this outer edge, so I think that's gonna like shape this edge quite a bit. Like, look at how crazy that looks already. Never would have guessed that we have like these big kind of florals on the outside. All right, crossing over here. I'm gonna shimmy it down. So I'm just kind of going in this, not like right before that little circle happens. Oops, I missed again. All right. I think this is where it's going to start getting tricky. I think I'm just going to go around the clock here. I was a little afraid that I would need a third mat to go down here, but it looks like we just fit on these two mats. That's excellent. Where's the next bit? Right here. So when we're done, we'll kind of assess how round it is, like if we need to pull any side out a little bit more. But we got to get it all kind of attached first. At least all these bottom areas. Oops. Let's go here. Oh, jeez, I keep missing. Because I'm trying to go at like this tip here and keep missing. Okay, let's go over here. And I'm always thinking of like having the center as my guide, so I'm always kind of pulling from there. Oh my god, I missed again. There we go. 4 more. My pins are so slippery from the starch, but we're getting it. Thanks, Evil Panda. We are starching this puppy tonight. Okay, over to here. And then this will be a finished project, which is so fun. This one has literally been around for years, because like I said, it was just kind of my work on it every once in a while when I need a project, when I'm traveling, basically. Or get in a pinch somewhere and just need to work on something. Did I miss? Yeah. And finally was like, you know what? I'm going to finish this one. All right, we're getting there. Now, let's see. What would happen if we spread all these out? Do we have, like, too much bulk? I wonder if, maybe we spread these out, like, put in, like, bits, like, right little, like, here. Spread them all out so they're nice. And if, oh, this looks like it's going to be in the right spot. So, all right, let's just do a quick assessment, like, how circular is this looking? This looks like a snowflake. I think this is looking so cool. All right, let's see. Does it feel like I need to pull any one section more? I kind of think we're okay. Yeah, I don't think this is feeling lopsided to me at all. So I'm gonna just keep going. Oh, thanks, Juliana. Thanks, Gregory. I'm super excited with how this is looking. All right, I think I'm going to just go one by one around, and we will address each of these little things. So now here's the like little final detail work. I'm going to just like pull each one of these out. So I do have one that's kind of goes in line with all our stuff here. So let's do that one first. So I'm going right in those little like picot bloops right at the end now. Like, I have all these little bloops here. Let's kind of spread that out like so. There. Really stretching this now. So get those two, and now we have to get every single one here. Every single freaking one. So we're going to have to go around the whole piece like this. But this is like the final perfect touch, is when you get every single one of those picots to lay super perfect, and you have like these perfect little shapes on the end. Those are kind of round, so I want to make sure that I'm keeping that. There, that's looking super duper nice. Okay, ugh, this is just, I want to hang this up for like a snowflake something or another. Okay, again, I'm still trying to like come from the center here. So we got our outer one, and then we'll get these inner two. I think this is just gonna kind of end up where I need it to be. Oh, frame it. That's a good idea. So I actually, my grandma used to make doilies all the time, and I have one of her doilies that she made, and I made one with the same pattern with all of her leftover thread, and some of her thread was different colors and all that. So the one that I made is kind of a whole pile, like a conglomerate of her threads, and I think those like next to each other would look super pretty. So I do want to frame both of those, but I want to do it in a way where they're like in one of those, what do you call those boxes that are, I don't know, that are thick. those frames that they have like air in between. It's like a box almost, not just framed. That is a horrible description of what I'm trying to say, but like a shadow box. That's what they're called. Like a shadow box. I want to do something like that. Oh, thanks, Perna. I need to construct those somehow, because they're not the same size, and to really do it up perfect, I'm gonna need like custom shadow boxes made. I can't believe that we started this out, it was like about this big, and now it's like going off the screen here. That's crazy. But yeah, so I do want to get some like custom shadow boxes made at some point, or learn how to make them. And then I want to pin them so that they're floating a little bit in there too, kind of like a little specimen almost. So like if the sun hits it, you'd be able to see like a little shadow behind it, just so it's not like squished and looks flat. I want it to kind of be a little bit raised. I'm not quite sure how to accomplish that yet, but that's what I would love to do with those two pieces, and have them next to each other like a diptych. So what that's called in art, like where it's just like a piece that goes together, like two pieces that are meant to sit next to each other. And one's slightly bigger than the other one, so I want them actually different sized boxes because I think that'd look kind of cool. So anyway, that's on the brain. Ugh, look how pretty these are. These really are like the final little like snowflake blips. I do like that. Okay. Whew. So we're just going to spend the rest of the time going around here. When I'm done with this outer edge, I might actually repin these ones, because I do feel like I'm stretching things a little bit with there. And I feel like with these outer bits pinned, I can maybe repin those a little bit better. But first, let's keep on this. This is going to take a bunch of time just to get these guys done. The bulk of this time will go to this. But I love how this little mint color turned out at the end. I wasn't really expecting to need another color, but ran out. So I ended up with this mint on the outside, and I think it turned out just right. So this is definitely, like I said, a finicky part, but it makes such a big difference versus not starching it at all. You would never even get this effect of these outer kind of florally blips here. You would never get the feel for that without starching it. And all these little picos pinned are going to look so good once we take this out. It's annoying, like, oh my god, I gotta pin every single one of those, but yeah, you do. It's gonna dry perfectly like this, and when we remove all the pins, it's gonna be like exactly, it's gonna stay exactly there. All right, I think I might do this side, and then I'll probably rotate around just so I can reach. Stretching over it. Ooh, that's not very straight. Let's pull from the center again. That's the sort of stuff like when I'm done. Since I'm pulling at different areas, when I'm done, I'm gonna have to like assess. Okay, is one of these like crooked or whatever, and then I'll take pieces out if they need to be repinned. And I don't have to rush or anything. I mean, this starch is not going to dry instantly. This is kind of like a let it sit overnight sort of situation. So I'm not worried about doing this so fast because the starch is going to dry. I mean, I'm sure it is going to a little bit as I do this, but I think we'll be plenty good. You could do this with just water, probably, but that starch really does a good job at holding it in place nicely. Oh, see, now this one looks lopsided. I think I need to pull this out a little bit more. Kind of feel like I'm stretching them a little bit more than the first one, but I think we're fine. Okay. So I'm gonna do this one, and then I think we're 1, 2, 3. Yep, then we're halfway done with these. So I'm gonna rotate the whole thing, just so I have access to the top a little bit easier. Are you gonna shadow box this and hang it on the wall? So this, I mean, if I'm gonna do any, Gretchen's asking over on Facebook. I don't know. If I'm gonna do a shadow box for any of them, it's gonna be the ones that my grandma did, and me mimicking, or like me doing the like matching one. If I'm gonna do any shadow boxing, it's gonna start there. And if I get those done and it's nice and I like doing it, then maybe I'll do it with some other ones. I've done a bunch of these doilies and they're literally sitting in a bin. I don't know what to do with them. I just enjoy making them. All right, there we go. I'm going to rotate around, but look at the difference. This is unstretched at all compared to like it all stretched out perfectly. It has a completely different look, like the top to the bottom. So, man, I think this is super effective. So, all right, let's rotate this guy without trying to pull these apart. I think they're being held pretty well together, though, by all these pins now. I'm surprised how big this got. Like, it's almost the size of this one now. I mean, it's a little smaller, but it was quite a bit smaller earlier. Okay, let's do these ones. Oh, Nolene says I could preserve it for life in resin. Ooh, that would be really kind of fun. Ooh, this would be like a cool like resin table or something. I've never done that before, but that would be really kind of a fun experiment. I think I'd probably have to experiment on a smaller one, which would be fine. I do have a smaller one that I just kind of randomly did. It was actually going to be a bigger one, but I'm like, screw this, I don't want to do it anymore. That was actually this one. So this was a project. This one's much smaller, but this one, and this is starched already, but this one, I started it. This again was a design that I hadn't done before, and it had kind of wheat coming up all the way to the top. So this was meant to be a really big one with like this wheat. And I'm like, ooh, what if I switch color anytime I start that wheat part with some other colored floss? So this is leftover embroidery floss that I have. But if you've ever crocheted a doily, you know that you start at the center, you do one row, then you do the next row, and then the next row, and the next row. So like the bottom of these, this is all one row. Like every part of the bottom is all the one row. So every time I had to switch from color back to just this light cream. So like here I have to stop, then I have to do light cream, and then I do color again, then light cream, and then color again, then light cream. So I would have to do that for every single row. And yes, Jay Lewis, exactly that. There were so many strands to weave in. So anytime you switch a color, you got both of those strands to weave in. Like I had to stitch a purple in and this dark purple, and actually the cream, because I switched colors from the cream to the purple, right? And then from purple to cream. So thousands of, even on just this, threads that I had to weave in. And I was going to do it all the way up for like, to turn this into like wheat. So I'm like, nah. I found this project again. And I'm like, I ain't doing that. No way, man. But I'm like, you know what? It looks kind of cool like this. I will weave in the ends and just starch it and see what I got. Now I kind of think it looks like, not petunias. What are those flowers? Maybe I am thinking of petunias. I don't know, but it looks like those little kind of florals that have that one little blue petal at the top that are early spring. Oh my god, I can't remember what they're called. But anyway, so I thought it was just kind of looked like those. But yeah, I'm like, I'm not continuing that project. I don't want to weave in that many ends. So it ended. And I actually kind of like how it turned out. I'm perfectly fine with the smaller little one. But for example, oh, it does kind of look like tulips. That's not what I'm thinking of. Maybe I am thinking of petunia. Oh, pansies, Gina, that's it. Oh, and Justin and Gina got it. Pansies. They kind of look like pansies, so I call it like the pansy doily. See, they all kind of look. It has a little bit of that shape, I think, mimics it. Those little bits. So I just am calling it that instead. Got the P part right. But yeah, so that would be one that I would maybe try a resin experiment with before doing a big thing. But that would be fun. I've never done that before, and it's always intrigued me. Those would be some cool art pieces. And then, you know, I feel like it's that sort of thing, and I think this is so stupid. This is just kind of like the nature of art and like women's work and craft. I mean, we can talk about that whole idea. Is it art versus craft, etc., blah, blah. I mean, I have opinions. But anyway, I feel like putting something like this in resin would automatically kind of like elevate it to, ooh, now it's art. Especially if it's something, resin that we just hang on the wall when we're done versus like making it into a table, then it's still, crafts or whatever, or in people's eyes. But, I think if I did want to start doing these more often and like sell them, there's no way I'd ever be able to sell this as like, look at this craft I made and, you want a doily sitting around your house. I would never be able to sell it like that because a zillion trillion hours went into it, right? But if it was in resin and hanging on the wall and this whole thing, then all of a sudden I could probably charge a lot more of it and, call it art and get it in galleries and stuff instead. So just by doing that, it changes the perceived value, which I think is ridiculous because it's still the same amount of hours and still basically the same thing. But anyway, so that would be a thing. So like I said, if I would start just making these and just deciding, hey, I'm gonna, like maybe I start designing my own, like I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that either with someone else's pattern, but if I made my own doily pattern or something, and then started doing it and somehow making it look like art and hang it on the wall or whatever, that'd be the only way to sell these, I think. Because of just a doily, I mean, people think that these take 2 seconds and that a machine can do it, and that's just not the case. All right, I got 2 more of these, and actually I got my water in the way here. Let me move that before I dump a giant thing of water on the ground. I cannot believe that this has stretched to fill our like entire screen here. It was just like this big when we started. Okay, let's do this last little one over here, and then we'll assess again. But this has gone a whole lot faster than I was expecting, so I'm pretty happy about that. And I didn't use up all my pins either. I was thinking, oh dang, I'm gonna run out of those too. Although now that I think of it, the other big doily that I did, that I have sitting over here with all the colors, that's the one that the pattern my grandma always used to use, and I like doing that pattern. That one has a zillion more of these little picos on the edge. Like, look at this one. This one has like a zillion, like each one of these had to be pinned, right? And each one of these little loops had to be pinned, like everything had to be just pinned. So a lot more going on with this design that needed to be pinned down. So it's not taking as long as that, which is great. We might actually get done quite a bit early tonight. We'll see how it goes. See if we have to do any adjustments. And I do kind of want to start another one of these. And it's because, I put out that TikTok of like, what color should I do? Because when I was done with, or when I brought out this project again, I already had like the middle color and then this first dark purple color done, but I didn't know what to do for the rest of the colors. So I kind of asked people and I had a couple color combinations and I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And so the suggestion was these blues, which I'm really happy with, but someone else had mentioned I had a red pink sort of colorway too, like where this purple went into pinks, which was really kind of cool too, and I really liked that one, but I just couldn't decide. And so someone mentioned that I should do a pink one that goes to like the oranges and reds, or like oranges and yellows, and that could be like the opposite of this one. Like this one is like the blues to the teals, and that one could be the pinks to the oranges, and now I totally want to do that. So I almost want to immediately start one. I'd probably do a pineapple one like this. Oh, JJ Lewis says I love the pineapple. So this is a pineapple design. That's when you have these sort of kind of heart-shaped guys in the design with these going around. So whenever you see a doily that has something like that in, typically it's called like a pineapple design. I do love those too. That's my favorite pattern still. I've looked like all over Pinterest and stuff, and I still like the one that my grandma always used to do the best, and I have her, pattern from her, like, Good Housekeeping magazine or whatever, wherever it came from. That's still my favorite one to do. So I'll probably do that design, but I kind of want to start one again. But I'm also like, oh my God, why am I thinking about starting another project? But I can just gather it all, and if it takes forever to do, who cares? That's the fun of it. All right, so I'm going to just assess this quick. I got everything pretty much pinned. I do think I want to go back into here, because here it's kind of stretching weird. But I want to just, like, assess the outer bits first. And I think there's one that I see that I want to switch. So I'm going to just, like, look at this. I'm going to keep rotating this just for myself, just so I can see, like, from one side to the other, just to see if it's like mirroring it a little bit. And like here, I feel like I need to pull this one out a little bit. It was kind of in too far. I was missing like a little bit of the round shape. I mean, this is getting super picky, but now's the time to do it, because I won't be able to do it after this. Like this one, it feels a little skinny, so let's just try and pull it out a little bit more, or I'll have to bring the other ones in. Yeah, like, oops, sorry, hit my head on the YouTube. All right, up there. Yeah, that's nicer. I'm just seeing if it looks like it's coming from the center and everything. Okay, that one looks pretty good. It doesn't look like it's as far out as these ones. I think this is maybe stretched a little far and not quite center. All right. And this isn't going to be perfect either, but like I said, now's the time to check. And we have a little time yet tonight, so I think might as well do that. How long, Teresa's asking, how long did this take total? I didn't time it, but I did sort of pay attention to when we were working on it last night, and we were just working on we were crocheting the last outer edge, which theoretically is what would take the longest, right? Because we're on the outermost area. It probably has the most stitches to some extent, and they had a lot of little details, like I had to go around, make these little picot circles and stuff. But that, I think we only got like 4 of them done in like an hour. So, and I think I counted out how many rows was in this. I forget now, but I think what I sort of estimated was it probably took, I don't know, maybe 25 to 35 hours, and it might be more. I don't know for sure. But that's kind of what I was thinking. Okay, that looks good. A long time is what it took. And over years, like I started it a long time ago and just decided, I found it again, and I'm like, I'm going to just finish this. Did you use the green floss? Yep, I did use the green. So here's the green. This entire outer edge ended up being green. Oh, thanks, Teresa. Yeah, Marielle was asking, did you use all the green floss, or did you finish the pattern before it ended? I definitely had to use the green. And I thought I was going to almost run out of the green, too. I was actually pretty surprised at that. I would have not made it another row around with this green. I would have needed a whole nother color. But yep, green here. So this is the last picked color that we did. And then the green came after. But it blends so well, I think, with this teal that comes before, so I kind of like how that turned out. All right, I think we've gone around here. This one feels weird to me still. I think we need to stretch you out this way. There. Okay, so now I'm going to just, I think those are fine. Our outer edges are fine. I am going to go back to right here, though, I think. maybe that is how that's supposed to be. Maybe I'll just let it kind of relax a little bit and then just repin it. But it looks stretched up there, but I think maybe that's how it's supposed to look too. Unless all this should be pulled up. No, that's pretty pulled up. I think this is probably how it's supposed to look. Because I'm trying to kind of pull on this. It's kind of like blooping in, which makes me think, oh, is a part loose? But I think the design is making that do that to some extent. So it doesn't feel like I have any more to pull. So I'm just going to kind of put these guys in and out again if it feels like they're blooped a little bit. Yeah, that one felt. Probably don't actually need them in anymore because I have this other one. Let's see if it relaxes a little bit. Actually, maybe they are supposed to be kind of down. Like, maybe this is supposed to be a little bit straighter. You know what? Maybe I'm just going to take all those out. Kind of straighten them out a little bit. So it's less. So it looks like it's pulling less. I don't know. Something about that doesn't seem quite how I like it. But now that I have all these outer ones, you know, I'm a little safer pulling these out. Because I have them attached up here, and this will just be our, like, main thing holding it. Now sometimes, like on that pineapple one, I would put like a zillion more pins in, because it also seems like there's more places that need it. Ooh, ouch. Okay, I think that looks pretty good right there. Oh, Rockin' Robin says ordered. That's right. Thank you so much, Robin. So I am still having my special for these lives. So if you order $20 or more from the shop, I will throw in a mystery gift at no extra charge for you guys, as long as it's within this time that I'm live and about like 10 minutes or so after. So thanks so much, Robin. I appreciate that a ton. But yeah, so I'll check on that order when we're done. You don't need a code or anything. I will just check to see who ordered during this time, and I'll throw in a mystery gift. So thanks again. I appreciate that. Oh, you're running out of things to embroider. That's impressive, Robin. That's impressive. That's cool. Yeah, you guys, it's almost the end of the month too. So our freebie that comes with our embroidery of the month will be, ending for that kit. And actually, here's what I'm talking about. Our embroidery of the month is this lilac, and I feel like it matches perfectly. Like, I almost wish, like, it could almost be like a frame for this. Like, I wonder if there's a way to just like start the pattern from here and then like attach it to a hoop. I bet you there is. Like, I should try that sometime. Just like wrapping thread around the hoop and then just doing like a crocheted edging that could get bigger and bigger. I think that would be really fun. But it totally goes with this month's embroidery of the month here, I think. All right, so I don't really have anything else here to do. All we're gonna do is let this sit overnight. So I'll probably film it sometime tomorrow. I probably won't do it live, but I will film taking out all the pins and like pulling this up. It'll kind of stick to the towel here, but it'll just kind of like peel off of it. But that is it. Quite different than what we started with. So I'll definitely show like a before and after too, because this is significantly different than how it started, for sure. So, all right, I think we will end it early there tonight. I was not expecting to get this done so quickly tonight. So thank you guys all for coming again. I will show it to you tomorrow for sure during our live, and we'll have to start another project during the live. We do have a couple weeks at the end of the month, this month, to just kind of work on what we want. That's kind of where this came from, just finishing up this the doily here. I don't want to lift it up to show you guys in the front camera just because I don't want it all to kind of fall apart. You could use Nolene saying you could do that you sew around the edge and then crochet the same as a doily. I want to try that. I've never done that before, but it's just like doing an edging, which I also haven't done, but like you can put stitches into like fabric and then attach crochet to those stitches, and that is totally something we could try for the hoop. Actually, I did go around with yarn once and did a little bit of an edging on the hoop. I should find that and show you guys that tomorrow, because that would be kind of fun. Maybe I still want to do that chicken, that rooster pattern. Let me see if I have that nearby. Oh yeah, so I still want to do the rooster sometime during these next couple days and next week. So maybe we'll do like a little crocheted edging for that. That'd be really cute. Yeah, fun stuff. I love that you can combine these crafts together. That, you know, the more crafts you know how to do, or the more things that you can play around with this stuff, like the more you can have them cross over, and you know, the ideas just come then, right? Like when you can like draw from all those different crafts, I think yeah, you can really start brainstorming fun stuff to do with it. Which makes me want to do resin even more, because I think we could put resin on like so many of our stuff that we make here. It would just like change the idea of a lot of things. I think it'd be kind of a fun thing to learn. Dip dyeing is another thing. I'd love to try that sometime. Like imagine like a doily that we stitch all in that like light cream color, and then we dip dye a little bit of it, or tie dye it even. Ooh, a tie dye doily! Dang, that would be fun. See, all sorts of things we can do yet. All right, you guys, I think we'll call it there for the evening. And thanks again so much for joining me. We'll be here tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. I will let this run again for another 10 minutes. Not the live, but like the special. So again, $20 in the shop, and I will throw in a mystery gift for free for another 10 minutes or so. So thank you guys so much, and have a lovely evening. Good night.